very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on KTN NewsDesk on this third day of May 2017. A lot has been happening today. We'll definitely be keeping you up to date with all that. But first, let's take a look at the highlights. IEBC seeking nullification of a ruling which declared presidential results announced at the constituency level as final. Just what does this mean? NASA co-principal Kalonzo Musyoka reacts on the suspension of his foundation. And journalists around the world celebrate World Press Freedom Day. Good afternoon. My name is Akisa Wanjera. Thank you for joining us. Now, NASA co-principal Kalonzo Musyoka, whose foundation was suspended by the Non-Governmental Organization Coordination Board with immediate effect over unaccounted $146 million funds. In the letter dated May the 2nd, the board's executive director, Fazul Mohammed, dissolved the entire board of directors of the foundation and ordered the account frozen. Mohammed claims the foundation has been submitting false returns to NGO board. The board claims the foundation bank accounts are operated by total strangers, contrary to the provisions of the enabling Kenyan charity law and existing financial regulations. Kalonzo Musyoka has just reacted to that latest developments of the freezing of accounts of his foundation. Let's just take a look at what he said.
Everybody has a place they call home. And they have a place they have people they call family. And when you attack the family, then it doesn't look good at all. That is literally called hitting below the belt. For the first time, I'll introduce my son Kennedy, because he already hit the headlines in the Standard, I think about March the 1st. And confessed, really, confirmed he's the secretary of the Kalonzo Musyoka Foundation. I'm also the patron, and indeed my wife is a CEO. And we have Mrs. Martha Kasanga Mulwa. She is a renowned educationist, wife to the late Justice Kasanga Mulwa, and she serves as the treasurer of the foundation. The foundation has helped to educate, apart from anything else, close to 2,000, maybe over 2,000 young Kenyans, mainly those from disadvantaged backgrounds. And we were looking, initially started as a bursary for Mwingi, Kitui North, then Mwingi North, a bursary fund, which was separate from what the government normally would give. And our main supporter basically was the church in Cyprus, through a very good friend of mine called Bishop Chrysostomos of Kition. He has visited this country many times, and they were the ones, the main supporters of the bursary fund, and they continue to do so up to today. As a result of which, young men and women who could otherwise not have managed to go to high school and to university are benefited. If it was not for this political situation in the country, I think I was invited to join with some of the beneficiaries at the foundation offices, so that the country can see that one of the things you can do for your fellow man and woman is to develop their capacity. In fact, it's so important to me that it is more important than even building a road, because when you empower a fellow Kenyan to realize their full potential, they'll be able to build many, many, many roads and all kinds of infrastructure going forward.
All right, Kalonzo Musyoka earlier on in a press briefing reacting to claims on how the particular foundation of his has been conducting itself. Let's now cross over to the Jubilee Headquarters, where the party is trying to address nomination disputes arising from the party primaries. Our reporter Murimi Mwange is standing by for us. Murimi, good afternoon. What are you hearing on the ground? Chris Thairo was there till late yesterday evening, and the last word he got was that the party would release the final verdict on most of the disputes on Friday. Anything new?
Well, good afternoon, Akisa. Well, the environment here remains that of anxiety and uncertainty, particularly among the many supporters of the leaders that have filed petitions here before the disputes tribunal at the party. But of course, besides that, a number of leaders who, including those who did not have any petitions per se before the tribunal, have been making their way here at the party. What you might call the frantic efforts to remain on the ticket of the Jubilee Party, given that in some areas in the country, clinching that ticket is tantamount to winning the main election itself. Earlier on, I spoke to Embu Governor Martin Nyaga Wambora, who clinched the Jubilee ticket in Embu for the gubernatorial seat, and he said that he is satisfied with the ongoings of the tribunal, having presented his evidence. Earlier on, there were reports which, as it would turn out, were fake news about the issuance of a certificate to musician Jaguar for the Starehe parliamentary seat. But as we came to understand from the party, that certificate has not been issued and no candidate has been handed the certificate. Remember, there was a directive from the president that there would be no provisional certificates. And as you can see, supporters of Jaguar are still camping outside here, despite the fact that he has already presented his case before the tribunal and given his evidence. Remember, he's coming up against Maina Kamanda. But of course, the communication we have from the party is that no aspirant has been handed the Jubilee Party ticket, and that has been shelved until Friday, when there will be a verdict on the petitions that are before the tribunal here. And as you can see, security also beefed up today, restricted access to the venue. A majority of the supporters of the aspirants have been restricted outside this venue, and even aspirants who are allowed in are only those that have a petition to be heard today. Akisa.
What about Jaguar himself? Has he made way to the Jubilee headquarters, perhaps in anticipation that he would be getting that certificate?
Well, Jaguar has not been here today, and as you can see, the only presence of him is his supporters here, who have come out to, of course, mount a presence in what has been a spirited attempt by most of the leaders who have cases before the tribunal to advance their agenda. We understand he might be here now among his supporters here that are, of course, moving around as police try to contain the tensions here, of course, restricting the access to only legitimate aspirants who have cases to present. Let's try find out if he's among those in the crowd. We are heading closer to the gates to just try get a proper picture of exactly what is happening here. As you can see, just his supporters camping outside here, but no sign of him anywhere around here. Akisa.
Well, Murimi, thank you very much for that update. I believe he will continue camping there, so he will be giving us more updates on the goings-on at the Jubilee headquarters. Of course, a beehive of activities, same situation, same sins being replicated from what we saw yesterday. Well, a couple of Jubilee aspirants have now announced that they have defected from Jubilee to NASA, citing massive irregularities and favorism in the just concluded nomination exercise. Let's just listen in to what they had to say.
For the way the nominations were conducted, and subsequent treatment and enumeration of those who appealed to the party over the irregularities during the primaries. We wish to state very clearly that there is a powerful hand that is not only rigging out some candidates, but also manipulating the whole process with the intention to have the preferred persons to be elected in Mount Kenya region. We wish to distance ourselves from the ongoing Jubilee appeals and nominations, and as a team of aspirants, business persons and religious leaders and opinion leaders, today resigns and decamp from the Jubilee Party and join as a team to push for the agenda of Mount Kenya region within NASA. We will not only campaign for NASA candidates, but we will also move from town to town, from village to village, and from house to house to educate our people that we are safe in NASA government. And a time has come for the people not to be manipulated, not to be controlled, and not to be rigged out in the purpose of having private persons as our leaders. We have decided that we are going to organize rallies for our candidates in all the 7 counties, and we are going to drum up support for the NASA presidential candidate. We will preach peace and reconciliation to our people, and particularly erase the negative picture in the mind of all the Mount Kenya people of the negative propaganda of our Raila government. We will mobilize all the aspirants, business persons, and opinion leaders to embrace another government and speak of a Kenyan leader, not a leader for the Kikuyu, not a leader for the Luo, not a leader for Kalenjin or any other tribe in this nation. We will inform and educate all Kenyans that people, we need to know the agenda, the manifesto, and the vision of the NASA leadership. So we will join hands with all Kenyans from today, irrespective of their tribe, to unite this nation around a common agenda of transforming the lives of ordinary Kenyans. We pledge to inform and educate Kenyans in all regions that are Kenyans, that we will not benefit under the Jubilee government, but through a national leader, without putting the future of the next generation to danger. We therefore finally declare our resolve to support the NASA leadership and look forward to a transformative transition of government on 8th August. May God bless us, may God bless Kenya, na mambo yatabadilika. Thank you.
Right, aspirants there defecting from Jubilee to NASA, but let's quickly go back to the Jubilee headquarters where reporter Mrimi Mwangi has just been. We understand that Charles Njangwa has finally made way to the headquarters. Remember, Mrimi told us that his supporters had camped outside with placards saying that they insist that he gets that certificate, but so far no certificate has been given to anyone, contrary to popular belief and some of the stories that have been going on the social media. But we'll definitely be going back to Murimi Mwangi for that update and of course on what Charles Njangwa would have said or what he would have told his supporters. Let's now speak to our senior political reporter Chris Thairu, who's joining us from Kilimani on an array of issues regarding the just concluded party primaries and of course the high number of those who have opted to go it alone. Chris, thank you very much for joining us. Let's just start with that briefing we've seen from those who have defected from Jubilee to NASA, given that the board is still listening to a number of disputes. Are we expecting to see more of this in the coming days?
Well, Akisa, a very good afternoon to you. And of course, as you ran that clip of aspirants who have ditched Jubilee Party and now joined the opposition NASA, and they've pledged to campaign for the NASA presidential aspirant, that is the ODM party leader Raila Odinga. And now I'm joined by the chairman of the aspirants he was the chairman of the Jubilee aspirants in Nyandarua County, and he was vying for the Ndaragwa parliamentary seat, Moses Ndegwa. Well, let's start by the issues that you've raised. First of all, you've jumped from Jubilee to NASA now. Well, do you believe in the ideologies of NASA, or you're joining NASA because of the being disgruntled in Jubilee?
Perfectly true. I believe in the ideologies of the NASA, given that this This country requires somebody who can push the agenda for the lowest people in the community. We need to raise up the standard. We need to lash and say that this country requires what Laila said, a transformative transitional government. We need to transform this nation. We need to change the ideas that are happening around us. We also don't need to push agendas that were done in 90s, where leaders were not elected by the people. They were elected by individual cliques. So unless we move to an agenda where we need to transform the democracy of this country, I don't think we are heading anywhere in any party.
But someone might ask, why join now after participating in the Jubilee primaries and losing?
I had a lot of hopes with as many assurances that we got from the Jubilee Party about how it will be free, fair, and credible nominations. Everyone, I have talked to people from Nyandarua, from Nyeri, from Embu. You can listen to them all over. They are decamping to independent candidate. But learning to independent candidate does not change the philosophy of the things that are happening. You learn there, but when you get to parliament or you get to governance, you're not going to push any agenda. So we need to have a vehicle or a system that is pushing that. Learning for any party, whether I was learning in NASA or learning in Jubilee, personally have a conviction that this nation needs to stand on a ground where we elect leaders not because they are Kikuyus, they are Luos, they are Karajis, they are Kambas. We elect leaders who are going to transform this nation.
My last question will be, when are you expecting to be received officially by the NASA candidate, or that's the NASA aspirant, presidential aspirant?
I am hoping that the presidential candidate, Raila Amolo Odinga, I'm in communication, and I hope by the end of the day, I'll have shaken his hand and told him I'm bringing on board all the aspirants, the businessmen, and the people, the religious leaders who want to join NASA. Okay. And so we are hopeful that we are going to do that.
We wish you all the best then. Well, Akisa, that has been Moses Ndegwa, and he was aspiring for the Ndaragwa parliamentary seat. And as you heard it, he will be rolling out campaigns for the opposition in central Kenya. Akisa.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for that update. Our senior political reporter, Chris Tairu, there joining us live from Kilimani. And of course, he will be bringing us more details on a number of issues as far as politics is concerned. But at this point,